It's loading. Bam. We are live. It is the TrshKast. Who do we got on deck
Let's
with us today?
go. Who's going first?
Introduce yourselves to the people.
All right, y'all. This is Caramelized Pony. You know me, emo pony, emo assassin. Sometimes I get in there and just, whine about the game, but I truthfully love it. But y'all know me.
Right. Ponies, those of you that don't know, he's been commentating for Outworld and shit, and competing in a lot of events. He's starting to get more famous than me.
Sometimes.
Right? And then the other person, there's two more of you in here.
Two more. Oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm just waiting if Toe's going.
Oh, yeah, this is the one and only Shrek, participant of the Trash Talk Temple, part of Team Brain Dead Bunga.
Brain dead.
Oh, yeah, all of you guys are
Brain Dead
bungas,
Bunga.
huh? Everybody in here is a bungaloid.
It's another Bunga cast.
Right?
No,
right?
the Bunga cast. All right. And this is JusXDave. I'm a fellow commentator. I'll be streaming on Twitch. I'm pretty low-key, I'm not going to lie, but I'm chill, though.
Right.
Usually having some chill-ass streams.
Right. Go ahead and make sure you check out JusXDave. He does a lot of shit for MKX too. If you love MKX and that's your jam, right? Because we're trying to show that there's no beef between the two communities. I think that's fucking stupid, right? Like,
Yeah, definitely.
it's fucking dumb. JusXDave, he don't really play my game, but he plays MK and he's a cool dude and he does MKX shit and people
Yes,
always
sir.
ask me to do MKX shit and I'm like, why am I going to do that? I'm ass at that game. I'm more ass at that game than this game. I'm going to leave that to JusXDave. Go watch JusXDave's shit. He does the X shit.
I was just playing Next this morning, too. That's the crazy part.
Right?
I just re-downloaded that thing.
Oh, man, that game's broke, but it's fun, though.
That shit stays installed for me. I uninstalled it one time and I regretted it. I regretted uninstalling it to make room for something or other. I think it was like Street Fighter 5 or something. And like after that, I put it back in and I told my woman, I was like, listen, I don't care what kind of real estate we have on this hard drive. X does not leave it. Okay, MK11,
Oh, yeah.
that's work. That doesn't leave the hard drive. And X, it's not work. That's pleasure. That stays.
It is. It is. I think that's like the modern, I would even say that's like the modern MK3 if I had to compare it.
Well, it has the
Ooh.
run. I consider X to be our Marvel 2. Because it's
Marvel
fucking
2.
broken but fun as fuck. And at high
Sure.
level, it's actually pretty complicated at high level, considering how broken it is. That's Marvel
Right.
2, right? Like, Magneto ROM combos are fucking broken. But, that shit made Marvel 2 fun. And I feel like Liu Kang fucking Fire God fucking pressure. It's broken as fuck, but that shit's tight. That shit's tight.
That's tight, definitely.
Man, Mortal Kombat X, it feels like sometimes it really only takes 2 touches. Like, we're in this game, 2 touches could be, spanned across 10 seconds, where Mortal Kombat X, it's like you end your combo in about 1.5 seconds. Then 2 seconds later, you're caught up in almost a 100% mix up and restand.
Honestly,
Crazy.
X's damage isn't that much different compared to 11's. It's still a 3 to 4 touch game. It's just the setups in X are oppressive. It's like, dude, you get fucking comboed for 30%. That's not that's your typical 1 bar in X is 30%. But it's like, yo, dude, it's Robo Smoke and you're restood and he's got another mix that
God,
leads right
Robo
back into that
Smoke.
shit. That's the problem
Amazing.
with X is yo, dude, the combos aren't so bad. It's just you're fucked if you get hit with one.
Cyclone.
It's like one
Quick
combo
50.
leads into another. You just got to constantly guess right on the coin toss. But that's what makes X fun, man. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that as
Yeah.
a criticism. I think that
Oh,
there
yeah.
should be games that are dumb like that. Should be games that are just absolutely fucking, it's an avalanche. Like, you get touched and you're
Insane,
fucking
yeah.
done. That shit's hype to watch.
Yeah, it is. Not gonna lie. Some people be like, oh, it's just so broken, but it's fun, though. The game, just playing it is fun.
Mm.
I
You
feel
gotta
like
say,
That's
bro,
the charm, though.
Well, I think there should be games like that aren't for everyone to play, but are fun to
Mhm.
watch. I ain't playing Marvel.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. That shit is
Oh,
I
yeah.
lose my shit playing that shit. But
That game has
I will,
infinite.
I will watch a Marvel tournament with my eyes glued to the screen. Yo, this shit is tight to watch. And I feel like X is our
Yeah,
game.
man.
That game is not fun to play for me. Not at all. I will lose my shit. But yo, I will watch an MKX tournament. I don't give a fuck. That shit is tight.
Oh, yeah. Crystalline
When you-
Tremor speaks for itself.
when you guys say Marvel, are you guys talking about Marvel vs. Capcom?
Yeah, that's the only
Yeah.
Marvel that matters.
MVC 2. Yeah.
Well, Marvel 3 is good as well. I heard Infinite's I can't watch Infinite, dude. I try to watch Infinite.
Yeah.
It's fun to play,
Infinite's
but
like the lesser than.
well, I tried to play it and I was like, yo, this shit is dumb. You telling me I can sit here and hit confirm a low and then tag in and then just hit you with an overhead and then combo into 5 supers and then you're fucking stuck in a reset, but you can't even see the screen because there's fiery tornadoes and 3 Chun-Lis and a fucking robot bouncing around. I'm like, what the fuck is even going on? I know I got mixed up. I just don't know what I got mixed up on, so fuck this game.
Yeah, I heard Infinite's lifespan didn't even last long in tournaments.
No, it didn't.
Well, they didn't really have characters.
Yeah. They got a lot. They even took out Wolverine, which I thought was the most ridiculous thing. But
that's crazy.
Right?
Taking out Wolverine, that's like that is Marvel. Like, you think of Wolverine, like, think of Marvel.
For us, though, dude, like,
Yeah,
for
for
our
us,
generation, we think Marvel, we think Wolverine and Spider-Man, right? But
Oh,
this
yeah.
generation,
Yeah,
it's like Captain America, Iron Man, and Hulk is Marvel.
Right.
You know?
But at least they're still in every game, though. Like, you can't take out Wolverine.
Well,
That was crazy.
They did. You know what? It's funny because I have that Marvel Ultimate Alliance game on the Switch, and that was like one of the first games that they came out with after they rebought all the rights from Fox for the X-Men. So like Wolverine is like front and fucking center on the fucking cover of the game. It was like, yeah, dude, we got Wolverine. We got him. He's in. He's not even like a main character in the story. Like, he's like a side fucking NPC until you unlock him, and then like he has like no dialogue. Like, he's just kind of there for Wolverine in the game. But they fucking highlighted it. They're like, yo, dude, yo, man, Wolverine and Storm are in this game.
Oh, yeah. Storm. I remember Storm in MVC 3. Oh, she was a top tier for sure.
Storm was my most hated character in Marvel 2 because, like, if you ever spent any time around that arcade machine during the attract screen, it's just, Typhoon! 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 And you're just like, oh my god, I gotta listen to this shit all day.
Have you guys ever heard of that game, Marvel Nemesis Rise of the Imperfects? It was for the PS2 back in the day.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that game before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have we talked about that?
Well, it's just like that game was dope. It was like kind of like what was that fucking game that it's like? It's like it was a Dreamcast game from Capcom.
It was on the original Xbox too. The Imperfects. It was on Xbox.
Yeah, but it was basically a ripoff of a game Capcom did, and I forget what it's called. But Capcom had a game on Dreamcast that was literally the same thing. It's like a 4-player arena. You grab weapons. And, beat each other up with it. What the fuck was that game? You guys talk amongst yourself. I'm gonna fucking find out now.
No, that game. When I got my hands on it for the first time, I was actually a kid when I got my hands on it. I think the latest I played it was like 2 years ago, and it was on an Xbox. That game is, if we're talking about like busted games that are just really fun to watch and really fun to play, it was that one, dude.
Power Stone. It was Power Stone.
Oh yeah. For the Dreamcast?
Yeah, Marvel Rise of the Imperfects was basically a ripoff of Power Stone, but with fucking Marvel characters. But Power Stone was the shit.
Bro, Power Stone's a classic, bro. That game was difficult, man. I kept getting bodied by that pyramid head that walks around and just crushes you. Oh,
right.
It was terrible.
I 0% have heard of this game. I need to look this up immediately.
Only on Dreamcast, and it's by
only on
Capcom.
Dreamcast.
That makes sense, though.
And there's 2 of them, Power Stone 1 and 2. It was successful enough to make a sequel. It looks kind of like Rival Schools, like it's that kind of graphic style. I think it was even the same team that made it, that made Rival Schools, but it doesn't play like Rival Schools. Rival Schools plays like a 3D Marvel, but like Power Stone was like it's basically Marvel Rise of the Imperfects, only it came out like 10 years beforehand, and it doesn't have X-Men in it.
It looks like it came out for PSP as well.
It might have. I know it was like one of the big games on Dreamcast. Like as far as like what are the best? Like if you buy a Dreamcast, you have to get Soul Calibur, Crazy Taxi, Power Stone, Ready to. It was one of those games that like if you have a Dreamcast, you have to have this game.
True.
I just got House of the Dead. That was it.
Right.
And 2K.
I wonder how many X-Men like fighting games there actually were.
There was a fighting game that was just straight up X-Men besides Children of the Atom called.
I know. Next
Mutant
Dimension.
Academy.
Mutant Academy, yeah, for
What?
the PS1.
Mutant
Yeah,
Academy was part 1. Next Dimension was part 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I never like put much time into those because those came out in an era where if it was a console-only fighting game, it was basically ignored. Which really sucks because there's a lot of fighting games that were console exclusive, but like that was like in the 2000s, like everything was still like sort of like arcades were dying, but like the community was trying to keep it alive. So it was like we don't compete in games that aren't in arcades. Because arcades were the universal platform that everyone could play on. You didn't have to have $200 to go buy a PlayStation or a Dreamcast or whatever, a GameCube. You just needed a quarter. So anybody could play at the arcade, so that was considered the universal platform. So anything that wasn't arcade available, like, the community just kind of ignored it. Because it's like, dude, I could sit here and grind this shit at home on my PlayStation for hours and then maybe bring consoles to my friend's house and have a tournament. Or I can go to the arcade where all the homies are at, fucking slamming quarters against the fucking CVS 2 machine. We can have a good time.
And I remember, like, when the PS2 was, like, the main console, like, the next gen, basically, like, internet wasn't really even a thing. Like, it was rare to even, like, get internet, like, in your home.
Well, I remember the debates because that was one of the reasons why MK was kind of like shit on by the fighting game community because MK Deception was the first fighting game to really have like actual online. Like there were fighting games that had like you could fucking link up and play a versus match with someone, but they didn't have like lobbies, they didn't have like a ranked mode, like all the things that you think of as like an online thing for a fighting game. Like most of that started with Deception, but like, the community didn't really rally behind Deception for 2 reasons. First of all, it was fucking broke. Like, the fighting game community at large was like, I ain't playing this shit. Like, yeah, there's Tom Brady, Rio. There's, like, a lot of guys that really got serious with Deception. But, like, for the most part, like, you weren't finding Justin Wong and, like, Daigo playing Deception. Like, that shit wasn't happening, you know?
Right.
So like that was like the thing was like the game is broken, but also like the community and those of us like older heads, you know, we still kind of have this mentality is like online is cool. Online is a niche tool, right? It's a nifty little niche tool to use sparingly to level yourself up, but it's never going to compare to offline. So like people didn't really like Deception having online didn't really sell it to the game. It's not like today where like if you don't have rollback, like nobody's fucking buying your shit, right? But like back then it was like, oh wow, it's got online, awesome. Like I'm never going to fucking touch it anyways.
Right.
You know, and that was the thing is like nobody fucked with online back in the day.
True.
And I remember it was such a pain in the ass to like set up my PS2 to be on the Wi-Fi router. Because remember, we're talking about like 2005 era Wi-Fi.
2005.
You know what I'm saying? So like I had to go in and change like IP ad, like do all kinds of shit. I had no fucking clue what to do. I ended up shutting down internet for like the whole house for like a week and shit just to play MK Deception online. And then I played like 5 matches and I was like, this is a glitchy, broken mess. Fuck this shit.
I remember people who had Xbox Live back then, or like any type of online. I'm like, man, you guys are rich. Like,
right?
You guys are rich. I had to play with my siblings. That was my online.
That was something that gets brought up a lot in like fighting games and the fighting game community, and I think it's a topic that doesn't really get broached a lot, except like I pointed out. But like growing up, dude, arcades was hood, right? Like we was from the streets. We played because we was too poor, and like everybody's like, why aren't fighting games like really esports like they were? And I'm like, it's because fighting games are poor people's games, dude. The communities don't want to invest. Like, dude, you think Razer fucking gives a fuck about like arcade sticks? They release like one every fucking decade.
Right.
They're good sticks, but it's not like they have a whole product line. It's not like mice. You know, they have 10 different kinds of mice and keyboards. Why? Because PC gaming is the rich white kids game. Only the rich white kids can afford PC. Even now, right? Poor kids don't fucking have gaming towers. They have consoles and cell phones.
$1,000 to play one game. You know what I'm saying?
Right? PC gaming is
too
bougie.
much.
That's bougie gaming. That's why they're sponsored.
The $3,000.
Yeah, just for like a solid PC, bro. It's like, bro, that's some. Like you could barely get a decent PC for like $1,000, bro. Not
it's
even.
like to me it
highlights your whole life savings.
It highlights like the class disparity. I mean, this is like not really a socioeconomic podcast, but it is relevant because, like, you know, you notice like within like fighting games, it is poor people, dude. We're broke, right? We even joke like, oh, Melty Blood, that's poverty games, right? You guys are broker than the rest of us, right? It's like it's like MK, Street Fighter, Tekken players, we're broke, dude. We just spent $1,000 to go to a tournament to lose, but Melty Blood players, man, those guys. That's poverty.
Oh, man.
But it's like you always hear from PC gamers, they're like, oh, well, it's cheaper in the long run, right? I'm going to spend $3,000 to get a gaming tower, but like I buy games for pennies on Steam. And it's like, yeah, you just literally proved that you're the 1% asshole, that you can sit there and say $3,000 is a good investment in the long term. You don't think poor people don't fucking notice that, asshole? That always cracks me up. And they're like, yeah, well, it's cheaper if you play on PC. You just spend a lot at first. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you don't think poor people haven't noticed fucking games are 85 cents on Steam? You don't think that they wouldn't fucking buy an 85-cent Steam game? Fuck no, dude. Nobody has $3,000. People are having a hard time coming up with 600.
Everybody wants a PC, of course. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Bro, people are barely managing. Bro, I remember when before like the PS5 and the Xbox Series even dropped, like people were still playing on the 360 and the PS3 still. It was like, bro, they just did not want to go to the next gen for anything. I really don't blame them.
Well, I mean, they did have a better selection of fighting games in that era than this era.
True.
This era has like 2 or 3 that I would throw in there, but like every time I look at my 360, I'm like, dude, I need some Sex Tekken. Oh, you guys don't know what Sex Tekken is? I'm sorry, dog.
No.
Fucking so Street Fighter versus Tekken. So in SoCal, right, during the Street Fighter versus Tekken era, right?
Never thought of that.
I forgot who fucking said it, but like we would always like abbreviate SFX Tech T, right? SFXT for Street Fighter Cross Tekken. And I forgot who said it, but somebody started calling it Sex Tekken, and then next thing you know, everybody at Wednesday Night Fights, like Tasty Steve is like on the commentary, like, yeah, we're gonna get down with some Sex Tekken, and that just fucking became. That's why that game stayed alive in SoCal for so long, was because like we fucking loved we loved playing. We're like, let's get some Sex Tekken down, get down with some Sex Tekken. I look at my 360 and I'm like, dog, I could fucking load up some Sex Tekken right now, dog. Let me get them martial law combos. Let me get that Sex Tekken.
Dude, they still even give you the choice to get that game?
I don't think you could buy it now, but I'm pretty sure it's not very hard to get.
Yeah, Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Yeah, it didn't do too well, I don't think, in the sales.
No, it did do well. It did really well. It sold fucking gangbusters, and then all the fucking controversy fucking killed it. The problem with that game wasn't that it didn't sell. It sold all right, just on the brand name alone. The problem with that game is nobody fucking played it. Everybody was like, every match ends in a fucking timeout. Like, nobody does enough damage to actually kill.
It was trash. No,
it was fun.
So did that whole game?
Nah, it was good.
So did that whole game play like Tekken? Like, even though there were Street Fighter characters in it?
It was like Street Fighter.
It was like Street Fighter.
It was a Street Fighter game with like Tekken aesthetics. No, it's not even Tekken characters. They looked like Tekken characters. They didn't play a fucking thing like Tekken. I remember having this conversation with Eris, right? So when the game came out,
kind of random.
And so Eris, like, he kind of worked with Capcom at the time and did that whole like reality TV show thing that ended up getting him canceled for like a year. But like, I remember talking to Eris about it, and I was like, dude, what do you think about this game? Because I'm liking it, but like, I'm more of a Tekken player, and I feel like you know, as a Tekken player, like, it's fun, but it's not. I'd rather play real Tekken. And then Eris told me straight up, he's like, this game does nothing for Tekken. He's like, if you're a Tekken player, he's like, I can't say this shit on stream. And again, this is like 10 years later, so I'm pretty sure he's not breaking any NDAs at this point. But he was like, he told me straight up, he's like, this game does nothing for Tekken. It will do nothing for Tekken. If you're a Tekken player, this game does nothing for you. If you're a Street Fighter player, then I guess you can play Street Fighter with a Kazuya skin.
Yeah.
And that was his impression. I was like, that's pretty accurate. It's Street Fighter with Tekken skins.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. Going into or diving into another subject. I've seen hitboxes, you know, many times. You know, the little fights stick, well, not technically a stick because it's all buttons. How do you guys think that would feel
It's the best controller.
going into that for the first time?
It's not even a question. It's the best controller.
But the mechanics of it, like it's definitely the best, but like the mechanics of using your fingers on the pad as the directions, I think that's crazy. I mean, with practice, you could get it, but I just feel like the first time you get into it, like, oh my gosh.
It takes like 2 or 3 matches to adjust.
Okay. The individual buttons to do whatever I want instead of like accidentally doing something makes me feel like a whole lot better.
So if you want to know what it's like to play on a hitbox, literally a hitbox is like playing fighting games with a PC keyboard. If you could play first-person shooters with a PC keyboard, you could do it. You could do a hitbox, and you get way cleaner, accurate, and faster inputs. It's not even a question. Like the data has shown, it's not even close. You will be cleaner. You will be quicker. You will be more accurate. You will get less mistakes. You will be able to land shit you never thought you could land.
If I put my 2 fingers here, it will do the same thing every time.
I can vouch for that. I know a Fujin player who plays solely just on the hitbox. Like he plays Fujin and on the hitbox. Like, bro, that's not easy.
Saki plays on the hitbox. Saki Sakura, the Jade player who used to.
Oh, she plays on hitbox too.
She plays on hitbox.
Nice.
There's a couple other notable players. So I tried one. My first experience with a hitbox was playing with a guy named Binkley, who's like a legendary Soul Calibur player. I think he got like 3rd place at Evolution for Soul Calibur 2, if I'm not mistaken. So he was one of the ones in SoCal to really champion hitboxes. So back when Hitbox first came out was when around the time of Marvel 3 Vanilla was when they were starting to like gain traction, and the actual company Hitbox, right? They were kind of like this weird underground thing that people were still kind of like, is this even fair? But they were all custom, right? Nobody made them. Then Hitbox actually made them, and I got in touch with the guys who started Hitbox, and I was on like the beta testing program when they were first making it. I never actually like did anything with them, but I was on the list to like receive one to test it, and I just never really followed up. But so I remember when hitboxes were first coming out, and I remember when Binkley got one, and I was like, dude, how is that shit? And he's like, dog, I've never Korean backdash so easy in my life. He's like, it's not even fucking funny how slick and how smooth my Korean backdashes are. And I tried playing with it, and it was awkward. I only played like 2 or 3 rounds, and it was really awkward at first, but like after 2 or 3 rounds, like I started seeing the potential. I was like, yo, this shit could actually revolutionize your execution. But then all the controversies came out with like Daigo pointing out that they allow you to do things that are considered cheating, and so that was when I stopped paying attention to them. And all that stuff's been resolved now. I don't know. I'm like kind of lazy to try out a hitbox now at this point because it's been like 10 years and I still haven't bought one.
I was thinking about experimenting with one, but so you're talking about they allowed you to do things that were considered cheating. What were
so when you look at
things?
A D-pad and you look at an arcade stick, can you press forward and backward at the same time? No, you cannot. But if you look at your keyboard and you see WASD and I can push S and D at the same time, meaning I can go forward and backwards. So on a hitbox, especially in a game like Street Fighter, they have button priority. So certain buttons take priority over others. If you push them at the same time, it will do that. And so in Street Fighter, blocking, because it's like the safest thing to do, had the priority. So you could sit there and hold back and forward at the same time, and your character would automatically walk forward. And if they pressed a button, because you were also holding back, it would automatically prioritize blocking instantly. So you could do shit like Guile, hold back and walk forward and throw sonic booms. Like really, really cheap shit. So like, you know, I mean, if you don't know Street Fighter, Guile, he's a turtley character. He has to hold back for a certain amount of time, then press forward and punch. And so if you're holding back to charge up his fireball, you're not walking forward, and that's kind of the balance, is he can't walk forward and shoot you. So you can kind of get in on him and break his defense. But if he could walk forward and shoot, he just pushes you to the corner, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there were a lot of things like that with hitboxes. They've since rectified that. I don't know that that's an issue anymore on official hitboxes. If you get some like knockoff bootleg sweatshop hitboxes, yes, they still have that problem. And that's why when you bring a hitbox to a tournament, they always like, that's one of the few controller types where like they actually have like officially approved brands that you can use. Like you can't use hitboxes in an offline if it's not like an officially recognized brand that doesn't fucking have that glitch in it.
Gotcha. I see. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You cannot do both at the same time.
Oh, there was all kinds of other shit, dude. There was goofy shit you could do with plinking. There was, and that's funny because somebody posted a video on Reddit that was like, hey, I found out this fucking option select, and it was plinking. And I was like, yeah, that's plinking.
Yeah.
That's like 20 years old. And they're like, no, man, it's new for MK. And I'm like, no, that was in like Third Strike or like CVS 2. It just like it became real popular in Street Fighter 4. But yeah, there's a lot of gimmicky shit I think you can do with plinking on a hitbox, but I'm not sure. I don't use one, so I'm not 100% familiar.
Who named it plinking?
Because it's P-linking. It's priority linking. So in Street Fighter, again, buttons have a priority that overwrite other buttons. So if I push light punch and light kick at the same time, it's going to give priority to light kick because that's the stronger button. So my character won't throw a punch and a kick at the same time. They just throw the kick. The punch never comes out. But the thing is, you can still get the inputs using negative edge. So you would priority link using negative edge. Yeah. So if I wanted to do, that was famous with the throw tech option select, right? So you hit down, back, light punch and light kick at the same time, and if they grabbed you because you did the throw input, you would break the throw. If they didn't grab you, you would do a light kick because that's the priority button. So it automatically got rid of strike throw as an option select. But the thing is, if you plinked it, it made it easier to do links because you would use negative edge to link the next move into the other, making combos not necessarily that much easier, but easier enough to where you could get a consistency boost out of plinking. But it was mostly to fix your execution. You were abusing negative edge to get extra inputs on your buttons so you didn't miss, because it's Street Fighter, so there's like one frame links and shit all over the place.
Right.
That is cold-blooded.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I fucking play too many fucking fighting games, man. I have like all this useless knowledge. People are like, what's plinking? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's this from a game that I never even fucking played.
I just can't imagine myself saying that in public, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I just did a plink, you know what I mean? Well, yeah, you know, it makes sense.
Well, at first they called it P-linking, right? It was P-linking because you were priority linking. So that was like a lot of our vocabulary and terminology in fighting games is very utilitarian, right? We called it P-linking because you were priority linking. You were using the priority on negative edge to clean up your links so you didn't drop combos. All right, so then you P-link it. P-link, P-link, plink, 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 plink. And then it turned into plink.
So, be like, you see a connection?
All right, I got a question for you guys. I was going to ask this earlier, but I feel like I should ask it now. All right, what's your guys' take on YOLO gameplay?
Love it.
I'm curious.
YOLO. That's my favorite way. I always fuck up doing that.
I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I mean, I definitely think like MK11 has a lot of that, like YOLO gameplay.
This is coming from the X player, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
Let it be known that JusXDave plays Mortal Kombat X, and he is saying that MK11 is a YOLO game.
I'm not saying like wouldn't say too YOLO. I mean, you know what I mean though. You know what I mean.
I throw out moves that I want to throw out, not just like pressing buttons, but I still just go YOLO on probably everything though.
I mean, just like like definitely like trying to read like wake up fatals or like wake up like it's a lot of options to like do a lot of YOLO shit and get away with it.
I think it's part of the kind of entitled pussy mentality of this generation, the hate of YOLO gameplay. Because when you get hit with a YOLO play, your instant reaction is to blame the game or blame the other player, right? It's like he just woke up fatal blow me, right? This game is stupid. It's the game's fault, or it's their fault for being
the game's fault, yeah.
But like that's a bitch mode mentality. Like, dude, you got
walk
hit.
Up on me then, bro.
You have options. Like when you get hit with a YOLO play, it's not like you were defenseless, right? They YOLO'd some shit, but you had block available at all times. That's why it's called a YOLO, because it's unsafe. It's not throwing out a standing jab randomly is not considered a YOLO. You can't get fucking punished for throwing a jab out. Like, not often, right? But like something like, yo, I'm just going to teleport full screen. Hopefully I hit him. Like, that's a YOLO play. And, like, you could have just mitigated that by blocking, and then he will die. So the onus isn't on the YOLO player. It's on the person taking the YOLO read. And, like, people shit on that sort of thing. But it's like, dude, quit being a bitch, man, because I've literally sat next to fucking Alex Valle and watched him do Wake Up Super. Like, one of the greatest fighting game players of all time does that shit. Like, you should have blocked.
Most of these KBs are YOLO moves, really. You gotta like do some random shit just to get that KB or something, and you just be like, oh shit, yeah.
I mean, I just think, well, for me personally, I think it's the online play though. Like the online play definitely like makes a big factor, especially with this game. Like when the online is obviously a huge difference compared to offline. Like you ain't gonna be seeing a lot of that YOLO shit offline, bro. I'll tell you that much. Like.
Like, but that's the thing. Like, that's why, again, Deception got kind of shit on, was because, like, again, the greater fighting game community does not take online serious. Like, the players that matter don't take online serious. Like, if you sit here, like, that's why Sonic Fox didn't even fucking phone it in, didn't even give the trouble to phone it in against Koizi in a $10,000 tournament. Like, the Prince Panther tournament, Sonic Fox is fighting Koizi for $10,000, and this is literally Sonic Fox's job, is to win tournaments. He does not have another job. And fights Koizi, #1 player on Xbox Live. And what does Sonic Fox do? Big money match, 5,000 people watching, $10,000 on the line. Fucking picks Kotal Khan. We've never seen Sonic Fox play Kotal Khan. You're like, wait, he plays Kotal? Like, he did not give a shit. He's like, dude, you're so below me. I'm not even gonna fucking pick a character I know to beat your ass. And then when he got beat, he was like, yeah, I got beat. I don't fucking care. It's Koizi. It's an online warrior. What do I give a shit? $10,000? I have $10,000. I don't need $10,000. That's what I'm saying. Offline players that matter do not care. Dude, if you go to Sonic Fox and tell him, yeah, man, I was Elder God and #1 on PlayStation, motherfucker will laugh in your face and be like, oh, yeah? Yeah, tell me more. Yeah, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit on those YOLO plays, though.
YOLO plays.
You get some good clips out of YOLO plays. You can get some real good clips out of YOLO plays. Sometimes.
I think YOLOs are fine because it's a read, dude. You could have blocked. You didn't block, and you're mad at it. That's what it is. That's how I feel about YOLO plays. You didn't block. You got blown up. Now you're mad. Could have blocked. As long as you have an option to defend against it, I feel like nothing is cheap. If you have a way out, then you just should have done that.
I just like the ones where people walk up all patient and then expect you to just be sitting there. And you just like, bam, fatal blow. Sorry.
Well, and I do understand the argument against some of that. So fighting games they're less of a Twitch genre than like, and when I say Twitch, I mean like a ADD fucking like Twitch gameplay, like first person shooter, right? I saw you first, you die. Just pure reaction time. And so the reason why we don't have a lot of that stuff in fighting games is because like they don't want it to be like a Twitch game, like who moved first gets blown up. So that's the criticism of like YOLO mechanics and YOLO plays is like, yeah, dude, like he didn't really outplay me. I just kind of walked forward and then I died. And they don't want that. So you do want to, like, mitigate some of that shit in the game. But I feel like Fatal Blow is like, dude, if you're still bitching about Fatal Blow, like, you just suck. Like, you have to just recognize that you fucking suck at fighting games because those of us who are tired of Fatal Blow, we discovered our block button. And we just use it a lot.
Yeah. When they get Fatal Blow, just block until they use it and kill them.
There's no command grab fatal blows like in MK9 and MKX. Like, you could just literally block and, like, at best, they can grab you or hit an overhead. And there are hardly any overhead combo starters. And if you have an overhead combo starter, generally, you don't have any lows. Like, you look at Cabal, he's got, like, fucking 5 overhead starters, but he has 1 low, down 4. Oh, and he has sweep. You know, it's like, there's no, like, mix-ups in this game.
What's
like,
that?
If you got hit, you weren't blocking.
Yeah, Johnny, I think, is the same way. Like, he literally only has, like, 1 low.
Johnny,
yeah, with his back 3-4.
Yeah, that's it. But he's got down 3 and down 4 to, like, pepper you with.
Oh, yeah, it's pokes.
Like,
yeah.
Johnny's more trying. His mix-up is neutral. His is move or not. Did they move? Did they come in? Back 3. Did they go out? Forward 3.
Yeah, exactly.
But excuse me. Like that's kind of how I like see it though. Is like, dude, if you got hit by a YOLO play, you weren't blocking. It's your fault. It's not their fault. Their fault. Your opponent's job is to defeat your ass. If they did, then like they were successful. And if you don't like that game, then you should just not play it. And that's something that I stand by strongly. Is like, dude, if you're still bitching about Fatal Blow, this is not the game for you. Like, you need to just play something else.
I think people just get caught up in like everybody doing the same combo, same this, same that, and when they see a move that's never used, they're like, "Oh wow, he's YOLO," and you're like, "No, I just used the other command list, like the other moves."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. People complain about the small command lists in MK11, but like I played Tekken like at the highest level, dude. Like in Tekken, they have like 500 moves, and you really only use about 30.
You only use like 5, right?
You know, and it's like yeah, there's some gimmicks, there's some niche setups with the other stuff, but for the most part, you go to any Tekken community guide for a character, and it's always your top 10, right? These are the 10 best moves for this character. You want to learn Asuka Kazama? Yeah. These are the 10 moves you need to start with. All the other shit, it's got its use. It's not useless, but start with these 10. And like that's like MK just said, you know what, we're going to get rid of the fluff. Like, because like you're an X player, Dave. How much of that shit in those command lists do you even use? Like Kano has this huge command list and you don't even fucking use half of that shit. It's like 1-1-3 half of the time.
Yeah.
1-1-3.
Yeah. 1-1-2.
Yeah, like you don't use any of that shit.
Definitely not. Yeah. I mean, it's just, in MKX though, it's just a different breed though. Like I remember when Summoner Quan Chi was hitting like 70% combos. Like, dude, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, they had to nerf him.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about like command lists and move lists.
Like,
just move lists in general. Like, I feel like if they added more moves to MK11, it wouldn't necessarily improve the game having more moves. Like, some characters would get better. But, like, I don't think MK11 would be a better technical game if every character had a Tekken command list. Like, if they just said fuck it and gave fucking Scorpion 500 moves, like in Tekken, I don't think that would intrinsically change what MK11 is all about. It wouldn't really change the flow of a match. Like, yeah, you'd have more options, but at the end of the day, it's like your options are always move or not, strike or throw, block or attack, high or low. Like, it's like fighting games are a series of like A and B questions, maybe a C, right? You're put in a situation, you have an ABC decision, right? A will give you a damage, B will mitigate you taking damage, and C is a wash, right? And so like that's how I feel like every fighting game puts you in a like, okay, we're full screen, A, B, or C. We're up close, A, B, or C, right? A gives me damage, B gives me a block, C is a wash. And so like having 500 moves doesn't change the fact that you're pretty much doing an ABC rock, paper, scissors at any given moment. Like you're turning rock, paper, scissors. Like you're turning rock, paper, scissors into rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock. And I don't know that necessarily would improve the gameplay of 11.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm a collector. I could use like his whole command list, truthfully.
The thing I find crazy with 11 is like a lot of pokes in this game are like really strong. Like it's just a down one alone. It's just like it's a guess. You know what I mean? Like depending on which character you play, like people do down one fatals or you know what I mean, or
like
down one special cancel. Yeah, like it's crazy.
Well, they kind of
down ones used to be worse.
No, down ones were worse in X. Like they were like worthless.
Down ones, oh yeah.
You're like, why the fuck are you down oneing in X? Are you trying to jail me? They kind of went the Tekken route, and that's why I say if you like Tekken and you don't really care for sidestepping, MK11 is the closest to Tekken, because Tekken is one of the few games that has really strong pokes. Like, Street Fighter has strong pokes because you can hit confirm them into a link for a full combo, so it really is just fucking mash lights the game. But like Tekken, like you use pokes to set up frame advantage and to interrupt offense, right? Because like a lot of your best moves are highs. So in Tekken, you'll do a lot of down 3s, down 4s, down 1s. And Tekken uses the same notation as MK, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So it's literally the same thing. And Ed Boon has been on record many times saying Tekken is his favorite fighting game. So a lot of design decisions from Tekken go to MK, and that's why I enjoy MK. But like, yeah, it doesn't really. I don't have a negative opinion on that. I think pokes being good are fine. I think it's bad when pokes are useless, because then it's just a button you never use. Like in MKX.
Dude, yeah, pokes were not as good, except for like a few characters that had really good like pokes, like
Yeah, like I mean, and even then,
Cyborg, I would say.
even then, if you had good pokes in X, that didn't make you a good character. It was
No,
like, all right,
not.
you had this useless
You're just
tool that
checking
no
them,
one
basically.
uses. Yeah, like you have this tool that no one else uses for a reason, but you have it, and I guess you could use it.
You could use it, right? That's that's perfect way to say that on MKX.
Right?
That's all about MJPs in that game.
God,
a lot
man.
of people, the MJPs were ruthless in that game. Whew.
Fucking Kung Jin, literally, like, dude,
Kung Jin.
I like got like on a 20-game win streak by literally holding up and mashing 2, and then if I clipped them, just do the fucking regular spin in a circle with your bow staff combo, and then go back to neutral jump. And I was like, dude, this shit is so fucking stupid. I was like, this is the dumbest fucking character in the game. And Kung Jin wasn't even as dumb as fucking the Quan father.
Oh no, definitely not.
People that complain about Cetrion in this game, and I'm like, dude, you have no fucking clue. You have no clue.
Yeah, imagine if Cetrion had an NJP. Oh my god. Dude.
I think Summoner Quan was the most cheapest character NetherRealm has ever put out. Cheaper than Zod.
Yes.
I think he was cheaper than MK9 Cabal, cheaper than Cyrac. Summoner Quan at release was cheaper than all of MK9 put together. Like, that character was dumb.
Yeah.
Like, what were you doing?
Even Sorcerer was slept on too. Sorcerer with that armor, like, was just ridiculous.
But see, they only slept on Sorcerer because fucking Summoner was like, literally, I won because I picked this character. I don't even have to be good. I picked this character, and there's nothing you can do about it. Because, like, those bat loops, man. The bat loops, because, okay, so those of you not familiar, Summoner Quan, right, he had this thing where he summons fucking enemies, and then he can throw them at you. But he also had that voodoo move where he puts you in a voodoo trance, and it's kind of like Sub-Zero's ice, except you walk towards him, right, and then he can get a free hit for a combo, right? Simple Mortal Kombat shit. But the thing is, he had enough time to voodoo trance you, summon a dude, then summon another dude, then put you in a restand, and then hit you with both of the summoned dudes at the same time to create an overlay. Like, the summoned dudes, he had one move that was an overhead and one summoned dude that was a low, and he can send them both at you at the same time during the restand. And if any of them touched you, he puts you back into the trance and restarts it. So literally, and it was unblockable, right? It wasn't even like, it wasn't like, I can guess right and escape. It was like, no, dude, if he touches you, he puts you in this unblockable. You cannot escape. That loops back into itself. Like, you just die.
Better guess right.
Before he does it, because it was because if he timed it right, dude, you could get the overhead and the low to hit at almost like, because remember, that's what they did to nerf it, was they made it to where you couldn't get hit with an overhead and a low within like a certain frame of time. Like, you had to have room to block. That's how they nerfed it. Because before then, it didn't matter if you guessed right or tried. Like, you had to hit down block and then let go at exactly the precise frame. Otherwise, you were hit. And then it looped back into itself.
Dave, I'm glad you mentioned that armored variation, though. Do you know how long that thing is active for?
Pretty sure it's. I'm not too sure if I remember how long it's
600 frames.
600 frames.
600 frames. So if you're in the corner, 600 frames.
Holy shit, dude.
And he is armored the whole time. You try to armor yourself off the wake up on MK. Nope.
Yeah, but I feel like his buttons were so shitty that the armor wasn't. Like, he needed the corner to make that scary. And it was hard. It was hard to get the corner with Quan Chi without summoner cheapness, because like that was kind of. It seems like that was their design decision with Quan Chi. Was like everything he has is like really bad, but he has this one cheap thing, and if he lands it, you're fucking dead. And so like the armor, yeah, it was good, but like fuck, dude, getting that set up and getting the corner in the first place to where that would be cheap. I feel like armor Quan Chi is like a prototype of what they perfected with Kano in MK11.
Corner kill.
Because, like, the armored Quan Chi, like, his whole thing is if he got you in the corner, you basically lost. Like, you weren't escaping, right? But it was hard to get that corner. And Kano kind of plays that way in this game. Like, if you get the corner, you're fucking dead. But it's not necessary. But the thing is, Kano actually can get the corner a lot easier than Quan Chi. It's not as easy. It's still tough to get it. Like, he still needs 2 or 3 reads to, like, get you in the corner, depending on where he's at. And then when he has you in the corner, it's 2 reads and you're dead. But like, so at the end of the day, Kano is like playing a 5-read game or a 5-touch game, just like anybody else. Everybody else is playing a 5-touch game, but Kano doesn't do that with combos. He does 2 touches to get you in the corner and then 3 more touches to kill you.
I definitely think Kano has like the best, I would say like best position in the corner because like, and once he gets that Molotov set up, you're guessing. Like you have to guess for your life. Like, either he's gonna go down one command grab or just command grab by itself, and it's just it's a nightmare. I'll tell you that much.
I love it. I think Kano is probably one of the most
he's fun
innovative.
Though. He's fun. I love playing Kano.
He feels like a Guilty Gear character in this game. To be honest, like he plays like his mentality is like what a Guilty Gear character does, which is like get you in the corner, play you on mix-ups till you die. Right? Not big combos, not big damage, just get you in the corner and then do some weird setups and then you die. And like Kano does it like in an interesting way because no other game really utilizes, as far as fighting games go, utilizes dots. Like no other, like fucking Fang has a dot in Street Fighter and it's stupid and worthless, right? But like Kano, like really, like he is built around those dots and he does so much fucking damage with them. And he's really unique, man. There's nothing like that. And that's why I take it kind of personal when people shit on MK11. They're like, oh, yeah, this game is like scrubby trash. And I'm like, dude, do you even know how to make Kano work? Because, like, when you see a Kano work, when you see, like, someone like Julop or Biohazard make Kano work, that shit is dope to watch to me.
Right. I definitely, I got to run a mirror with Julop. I haven't fought him too many times, but the Kano mirror is actually, I enjoy it. There's only a certain amount of mirrors I actually enjoy in this game, though. I'm not gonna lie.
I love almost all mirrors,
except like I think the Liu Kang is really fun. I was gonna ask you about the Kung Lao mirror. I don't know how you feel about that one.
No, it's fine. Kung Lao mirror is fine. Because, like, it's really intense because, like, both Kung Laos know that if I press the wrong button, my health bar is getting deleted, right? It's like, you play Kung Lao because you like that high pace, like, yo, dude, live or die by the blade, man, right? You love that high risk, high reward play style. So when you're fighting another Kung Lao, it's like 2 crackheads trying meth for the first time. You're like, oh, shit, dude, this is intense. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, he's going to spin on block. I know it.
the spin setup when on knockdown, knockdown spin setup.
Oh, the wake up amplified spin Oki setup that everybody gets hit by, and you're like, why the fuck did I get hit by amplified spin on wake up? I just had to block. He dropped his combo, and now I'm getting hit again.
True. I definitely hate it.
Classic crack Lao.
People don't like mirrors, though, because mirror matches make you, like, literally look in the mirror. Like, you spend all this time on this character. You're like, dog, I'm the best fucking Shiva that I know. And then you fight another Shiva and you get raffle stomped. And, like, people can't take that kind of self-reflection. They can't. They're like, fuck, I am fucking useless. That fool fucked me up with I gave him my best, and he was better than me at my best. Like, I'm fucking depressed, and I want to cut myself now. I think that's why people don't like mirror matches.
They say who can hit the button well, I mean, some mirror matches, like for me, like I just look at it like, oh, let's see who can hit the button first. Basically, like
you're all trying the same stuff.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, but that makes it more fun because you know that I know that you know, so like it becomes more intense. The only mirror match I wouldn't enjoy playing is the same match I fucking hate playing, period, which is Fujin. Like I would hate to play the Fujin mirror match. Just 2 fucking idiots just hitting back 2 from full screen for half an hour. Like that just sounds lame.
Yeah.
Let's see who can hit the
back 2 arrow.
Right?
I hate fighting Fujin, bro. I honestly,
I wish he was deleted from the game. Like I don't care.
Bro,
People
I
get
swear
mad
to
at
God, bro. They made his style so like irritating because it's like he literally baits you out to press a button. Like
he literally does nothing until you do something, and then he wins.
Exactly, bro. That's legit.
Stand 1, back 2 right now.
And it sucks because his whole like you did something is like you did anything. Right? Like, it's like, you're like, okay, I can understand, like, maybe I can't press at this range. Maybe I can't move at this range. But, like, with Fujin, it's like, oh, did you jump? No, I walked forward. Yeah, well, I still hit you. It's like, did you backdash? Yeah, well, I hit you too. Yeah, you can't backdash there. What can I do here? Block and wait for me to walk in and hit back 1-1? And it's like, the fuck? Like, I don't mind blocking. Like, that's why I don't mind fighting Jackie, where you have to block for a half hour. It's like, all right, man, I don't mind blocking. They're doing their offense. But at least during, like, that blocking, like, you can sit there and make call-outs, right? Like, Jackie can do an errant poot, or she can fuck up a stagger. You can make a call-out. You just got to be patient. Wait for your chance. With Fujin, it's like, dude, where's the call-out? When can I press anything? When can I do it? Like, literally, he has to do something really fucking stupid, or I have to pick, like, Jade and counterpick his ass. Otherwise, I don't get to press anything.
Most are kind of negative, too, though, so that's kind of works out a bit,
but they're negative from full screen. Like, dude, what, are you Liu Kang? No? Okay, then, like, you're not doing anything. What the fuck am I doing about back two?
I think Kodo does pretty well against Fujin.
Let me ask you guys a tough question. Is there a character in this game that you truly say, like, wow, I actually respect people for playing this character? Like,
I respect people for playing any character except Fujin, to be honest. That's every character. Like, I cannot stress my hatred enough.
Yeah, like any character is good. I agree with that. But like, if we're talking about especially, it's Rambo.
Rambo,
like if you can get Rambo, like if you,
favorite person in the world.
I don't respect people for playing Rambo. Like,
I
that
feel like
doesn't
if
make
you-
me
you
respect
could
him any more
swamp.
than any. No, because Rambo's playstyle is so fucking brain dead. Like, it sucks that it's a shitty fucking strategy and it doesn't work in this game. But like, I've seen people make Rambo work, and it's like, dude, Claymore set up in the corner,
You can
and
kind
then
of do
like
whatever you
fucking
want with
traps.
them.
Like, yeah,
If they made his moves kind of more positive, I guess. You probably do whatever you want.
You know what's crazy about Rambo? He has really good meaties. That's what makes Rambo really good. Like people like the high level Rambos, like, make him work. Like, they notice how good his meaties are, and it's like, you know, you have to guess pretty much every time you wake up against him. But
like,
There's
basically,
a bunch of mid, so
Rambo is basically Garrus with more grabs, and I think Garrus is the most boring character in this game. So that's why I don't really care much for Rambo's. Like, because at the end of the day, in the neutral, he's trying to pepper you with mids when he gets in close, and when he's far away, he's basically spamming Sand Trap. I mean, it's basically Sand Trap. He just doesn't have 3 different places. He has 2 places he can put it, but it's fucking huge, so he really only needs 2 places. So, like, if you're not in the corner doing Claymore setups or, like, mixing them up, like, you're literally full screen, like, spamming Sand Trap. And that's one thing that I feel like NetherRealm really is bad at, is zoning. They don't know how to make zoning fun.
Yeah.
True.
That whip trap is clutch, though.
I mean, like, a lot of, like, his stuff is cool. I don't think that he's he's not an effective character. That much is for sure. I mean, at least as far as like current
you have to
data.
try hard playing with her.
But it's just like, if you got a Rambo that's really good, I'm just not impressed, because like what he does isn't really all that impressive or exciting. It's like, wow, he hit you with 5 low traps, and then you like dashed in and got hit with Claymore, and now he's putting low traps again. Oh, look, he's crawling on the ground. Like, I don't know. He's so basic. Like, to me, it seems like Rambo is like if Ryu from Street Fighter was a grappler. Like, he's like generico grappler. He's got like 5 different grabs. You really only use 1 or 2 of them.
All right, let me ask you guys this. Would you enjoy seeing a Rambo or a RoboCop at a high level?
I would rather see RoboCop. I could watch RoboCop
I agree
play
with
all
that,
day.
though.
I think RoboCop's one of the coolest characters to watch in this game. I don't know why people hate RoboCop.
He's fun to play. No, he's fun to play. Don't get me wrong.
Even the zoning, dude. People sit here. There's like thousands of people watching on Twitch, like people speed running Mega Man, and so like that gameplay is exciting. I don't know why people hate on it, because basically RoboCop is turning Mortal Kombat into a Mega Man boss fight, and I think that shit is hype. Because if you're RoboCop, you get to be the Mega Man boss, and if you're fighting RoboCop, you're bouncing and jumping over shit, and I don't know. I think fighting RoboCop is fun because he has to use multiple projectiles and setups to zone you. Like, he can't just it's not like Rambo where he just does low trap, and if he thinks you're gonna jump, he'll do an arrow maybe, but it's just low trap.
Yeah, true.
Like RoboCop, he's got at least 3 to 5 different projectiles that he's alternating that create mix-ups that he has to do. He has to change up what pattern he does depending on the range and depending on what setup he has. Like, people like sit there and they look at low shot spam and they think that that's like it. And it's like, dude, RoboCop's low shot spam is down 1 spam.
Stuff works.
Anybody that bitches about RoboCop's low shot spam must never ever push down 1 more than once. Like, if you're that fucking great, you should be able to win without, because RoboCop's low shot is his down one. He's checking you from full screen with a safe mid to set up frame advantage to get his other shit out. That's literally it. RoboCop is doing what Scorpion does, but he's doing it from the other side of the screen. And he has to input an entire special move to do it, whereas Scorpion could just mash down one when he gets in your face. But that's the purpose that the low shot does. So yeah, they do it a lot, but the damage on it is pretty insignificant unless you amplify it. And really, the whole point of the low shot is to get the knockdown to set up a trap or a gun, the rifle or whatever. Like, you're jailing, basically, using frame data to get your next attack out guaranteed and forcing a block. It's literally what Scorpion does. It's literally what Sub-Zero does when they get in your face. Those people that are hating on RoboCop are scrublord-ass hypocrites. They really are, because it's like, I can do this to you, but the second you do it to me, it's cheap and it's boring and I hate it.
I actually think low shot is negative too, if you're close enough.
So are pokes. They are negative on block.
Yeah, exactly.
Down one is negative.
You know what's crazy? I remember people were saying RoboCop was like bottom 5 when he first came out. No, definitely not.
I've been saying that RoboCop had juice, but I feel like RoboCop's a lot harder to use than... I think as a zoner, RoboCop is harder to use than Cetrion, only because he doesn't have a teleport. But since people are starting to recognize the OCP charge basically is a teleport, like, people are starting to see, like, RoboCop is Cetrion, but with faster projectiles.
You can literally go straight there, and nobody's going to do shit because they're scared to jump or whatever.
I honestly think there's no character that is like truly bottom except for like a few. But even then, though, it's like they make it work. You know, like people say Scarlet is like bottom 5.
And then EXO went and crushed fucking Exotic yesterday with Scarlet.
So yeah, like, dude, I've seen people make the character work. Like, she has really good projectiles. I think. Like, I definitely think she's an underrated character at a high level.
But it's also just a bunch of characters no one wants to try with. It's like they feel like they have to try too hard to play that character, and they call them bottom 5.
Well, I think it's dissonance with aesthetics and gameplay. That's the key. I think that's the problem that fighting game developers haven't been able to solve, is the aesthetic versus gameplay dissonance. They've done a good job with it with this game, but, like, how many times has it happened for you where you see a character and you're like, that character looks fucking cool, I want to do that shit, and then you pick them and you're like, yo, this shit is fucking whack. And I think that's the issue, is like Scarlet, right? A lot of people saw Scarlet and they're like, yo, she's a blood ninja and she's hot. Like, I want to play as a hot fucking redheaded ninja who uses blood magic. And they're like thinking, okay, ninja with swords and shit. And they remember how she played in MK9. No, and then they get in and they're like, wait a minute, she doesn't fight like a ninja at all. She fights like a wizard, right? She runs away and shoots. And zoning is not an exciting play style. That's one thing MK11 fucked up, is that there are and people say there's not enough zoners, and I'm like, actually, there's way too many zoners.
There's a lot.
There's way too many. They're just not as good as Cetrion, right? It's just Cetrion is too good. If you want a zone, why would you pick anyone other than Cetrion? But it's like, if you look at the roster, it's like, dude, like 75% of these characters are either hardcore zoners or their best build is zoning.
Literally.
Every time I play a character and it's a zoner, I feel like sad inside, but like I have to play him sometime.
Bro,
like, why though?
Like, I could name just like 5 off the top of my one hand.
Like, why do I have to do this right now?
Well, and it goes back to what I've said a million times, and like, NetherRealm didn't like it when I was tweeting it to him, but I said nobody buys Mortal Kombat, the karate game, to shoot people. And it really started getting amplified when Rambo got released, right? Because when they released Rambo, everybody was like, great, another character that shoots.
I thought he was going to be like straight up, like he'll hurt you coming close, big damage, all that nonsense. But then it just became, oh, you have the best zoning tool ever.
Right? Well, I mean, I feel like they got him right, because when you think of Rambo in the movies, he's like fucking Solid Snake, right? He sneaks up and like grabs you and chokes you from stealth, right? That's how he kills people. You know, like he does MMA moves and takes you down and stabs you in the throat. But then they didn't make him
as hardcore as Snake, though. Snake will kill your
yeah, but I feel like his play style fits. But people think of Rambo, they think of bow and arrow and guns, and they're like, oh, great, another zoner. And it's like, yeah, dude.
And then the gun move is not even good. That's the problem, too. Make it good.
I think they made it bad because they didn't want Rambo to be a zoner. They were like, okay, we'll give him a projectile because he needs it, but we're going to make it bad so he doesn't just abuse it.
That makes no sense.
this could be arguable, but if it were Stryker to come out instead of Rambo, right? Say Stryker came back, he'd be a zoner too. I think if it were,
I don't want
and I
Stryker to
think
come
this
back.
is just,
Nah.
I'm just gonna put
with all
that
the
out there.
characters.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a fan of Stryker. Like as a
Nobody's
character,
asking. Nobody's really asking for him to come back. Like
Yeah.
that's just factual. But
Right,
like
right.
with all the characters that they made in this game, even the characters I wasn't too big of a fan of. I was like, wow, they really made them really cool in this game. Like absolutely, like aesthetically and moves and everything. And I've always pondered the idea on how they would make Stryker if he ended up coming back. And I really got a vision of that when I was watching Nightwolf gameplay, and he did that role. He does the spirit tracks.
Like, yeah, that's the favorite thing ever.
And it kind of looks like the move back in Mortal Kombat 3 where Stryker would roll up against you,
Well,
kind of do
that
the
in
same
9.
thing, except
that
he
was
would
his
grab
launcher
you.
in 9.
Oh yeah, that was. It was.
That was his launcher.
But I'm wondering what his moves would be or what he would look like if he came back.
Well, they have to have John Cena
game.
play him. They have to. John Cena has to be fucking Stryker.
John Cena Stryker. I can see it already.
I just can't wait till the day they like make the aesthetics look super good, like MK11, but like also keep the gameplay. I think MK11 was kind of the way to bring people in, basically, and then they're gonna make 12, probably give back all the mechanics because they had that learning curve disappear, kinda, and then make it for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Because people complain about it so much, it's probably gonna just be one of the best looking games. So
I'm just curious to see. I'm curious to see what MK12 is going to be like. Honestly.
Yeah, because a lot of games take one or the other. Like it looks bad but has great mechanics. It looks good but has terrible mechanics. You know what I'm saying? Just do both. What's the problem?
Well, I think that that assumes that MK11 has terrible mechanics, but I actually like everything about the
people
game.
Like hate it for saying that.
But the thing is, you'll never convince a Marvel versus Capcom player to take Street Fighter serious. And I think that's something developers need to understand is like, dude, you're never like, if we take it outside of the fighting game genre and you just take two games of disparate genres, right? You're never going to convince a person who loves Grand Theft Auto 5 to play fucking Persona. You know, like it's just not going to happen. And so people that like that fast-paced, crackhead gameplay style of like Marvel or MKX, they're never going to like a slow-paced, neutral, footsie MK11 Street Fighter style game. So I think instead of trying to please everybody, they should be doubling down on the strengths, right? They should, that's why I said the best possible scenario to me is if they just fucking release DLC for the old games and continue those. Like people that like MKX would rather play MKX, and if their new game plays like MKX, then everybody who joined in with MK11 isn't coming back. They're gonna be like, "Fuck
That's what
this."
I was thinking about, like, the Super Smash Bros. Community. They got every character from every Smash game ever. They should do that literally for Mortal Kombat.
You know what's crazy? I was gonna say, you know what's crazy? Like as much as I enjoyed MKX, like knowing how much it's fun to play, but I definitely respect MK11 more. Like knowing how competitive it is. Like you can actually be competitive playing MK11 more than you could MKX. I think so.
To some extent, yeah. I think that MKX, they just challenge different skills. Right, they're two different games testing you of two different things. To me, comparing 11 and X is like comparing Grand Theft Auto multiplayer with Uncharted 4's multiplayer. Like, yeah, dude, they're third-person shooters, but like Uncharted has you swinging on vines and shit, and like Grand Theft Auto has you jumping in an airplane. Like, at a very base description, yes, they are the same, but if you play either of those games, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have crossover appeal for the others. And so I feel like NetherRealm instead, and they really fucking shit the bed on this because they had the perfect setup. They could have had MK as one play style and Injustice as the other. and they keep trying to meld these two audiences, right? They MK was super aggressive, so what did they do? They made Injustice more zony, but rather than have Injustice be the zony game, they still tried to make the aggressive MK players happy, and ended up nobody being happy until like Injustice like became like super zony. Once the zoning in Injustice became obnoxious, then the people that love that playstyle stuck with it, but it took a long time of them sitting there blocking Catwoman mix-ups for them to get to the zoning gameplay that they liked. And it's the same with X, right? So zoning was too much in Injustice 1, so they said, fuck it, we're going to go all in on offense with X. And it's like, yeah, that didn't work. And so with Injustice and 11, they were like, all right, let's find the happy medium. Injustice, they found a happy medium that leaned a little bit heavier to zoning, whereas in MK11, they found a happier medium that's actually closer to the medium. And yet MK11 is one of the more polarizing games our community has ever had, because you can't make a game to please everybody. Capcom got it right. They were like, crackheads want Marvel, okay? Grown-ass, boring-ass boomer motherfuckers want Street Fighter. Okay, we have a game for each of those communities.
It's a boomer. The boomers.
Right? Like, and they could have done it. They could have kept MK the aggressive game, or maybe Justice the aggressive game. But now all we have is we have MKX as our aggressive game, and MK11 is our turtley game, and Injustice 2 is our zoning game. And like, okay, we have the three basic like play styles represented with a game that favors each play style, but unfortunately 2 of those games are old and no longer being supported, and the one game that's most current is the one they literally just said they're not supporting anymore. And now we have to wait for this next game, right? MK12, Injustice 3, Marvel fighting game, whatever comes out next is going to be polarizing. Unless they come out with 3 games, they're not going to make everyone happy. Like, MK12 will sell 1 million copies because I'll buy it, and then if it doesn't play like how I like it, I'm going to go back to 11. Same thing with you, Dave. You're going to buy it. You're going to play it. You're going to be like, all right, man, it's a little too zony for me. Or, oh, man, it's a little too aggressive for me. You're going to go back to MKX or whatever it is, and that's how it's going to be. And so that's why I said instead of doing that, they should have a franchise and say, this is our, if you like dumbass gameplay of rushing in and mashing buttons, Mortal Kombat is your jam. And then make every game in the franchise like X. And then if you like slow-paced footsies game, okay, we'll make that this. You know, and I think they got it backwards. MK should have been the slow-paced game because it's all about, like, human ninjas with limitations. And Injustice should have been the crazy unga-bunga game because those motherfuckers fly. A human ninja. Yeah, you know, it's like you have Superman and Aquaman and Green Lantern. Like, I could see that a Marvel versus Capcom style game, and yet it ended up being like a fucking second-person shooter.
Well, just off fatalities alone, I'm buying MK, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this.
They just need to do more. But other than that, like, I'll automatically buy it.
Hey, what do you guys think about an MK crossover? What do you guys think about that?
I don't think it'll make sense, but
it definitely wouldn't make sense, but it's kind of, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I'm pretty like sketchy about it myself.
I think it's pointless.
Stab Superman, that'd be crazy.
I'm sketchy about it myself. I'm not gonna lie.
Like, I'll just stab Superman in the face.
Good idea on paper, but it definitely, I don't think it would do well.
I don't think it's a good idea on paper at all.
No, really.
You run back into the problem of MK versus DC, where you have these brutal characters that like do the fatalities, and nobody wants their characters killed.
I don't think that's the problem either. No, the problem is literally if you look at my screen, you have Liu Kang fighting the Joker. There's your crossover. What's the fucking point? Like, with guest characters and all, that was the hype of, right? I've never seen Batman versus Scorpion. Like, this is going to be tight. And now they have so many guest characters in MK. Like, MK basically is a crossover game. It's Mortal Kombat versus the 80s. You know? Like, like what crossover, like, the hype and the uniqueness of the crossover is gone. And any kind of crossover, like, you would really, really want, they could just do as a guest character.
I don't know. Just superheroes and whatever against Mortal Kombat characters wouldn't seem right, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, if you're worried about the aesthetics, I'm just saying the specialness, right? The magic of the crossover is kind of dead. It's not really exciting anymore. It's not like when they release a game and they're like, yeah, it's, you know, MK versus DC, and it's like, I've never seen that before. It's like, dude, I literally watched RoboCop beat the shit out of Liu Kang, right? My screen right now has Joker shooting Liu Kang with a fucking birthday cake, you know, like the Joker from Batman. Like, the crossover thing is kind of Like,
yeah,
just do
definitely.
guest characters at this point.
True.
Because you're not going to please anybody. I had this argument on Reddit. Someone was like, oh, man, but Marvel versus DC versus MK would be tight. And I'm like, yeah, if you really want to play Liu Kang, Batman, or fucking Spider-Man. Like, if you want to play those three characters, then yeah, because if you think about it, the game's going to launch with between 20 and 30 characters, right? So if we did Marvel versus DC versus MK, that's 10 characters each franchise to keep it fair. All right, if you start with MK, or if you start with DC, right? Start with DC, 10 characters. All right, we got Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Cyborg. That's 7 right there just to get the Justice League that you can't have a DC game without those 7 have to be in the game. So now we have 3 more characters. Okay, Joker, Catwoman, Lex Luthor. That's going to be your roster for the DC side before they even get to like DLC characters. So it's like, that's why I hate those crossovers, because it's like, yeah, dude, Street Fighter versus Tekken is cool if you want to play as Kazuya and Heihachi. But if you're a fan, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan and your favorite character is like Baraka, of which there are a lot, like, what do you think Kano's chances of getting into Marvel versus DC versus MK? You know, what do you think Katana's chance is? What do you think Melina's chance? These are big fucking characters to MK, but like when you think about it, it's like, well, you gotta have Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Liu Kang, Johnny Cage, Raiden, right? Maybe a Shokan.
Katana would be there.
Yeah, Katana and Melina probably wouldn't. She wasn't in DC. But again, you find the same problem, right? Those 7 characters already, that's like the majority of your MK roster right there. So like basically you're going to have a fighting game that's just the main characters. If you really want to play as Batman or Wolverine or fucking Liu Kang, then that's cool. If you're a fan of any other character from those franchises, those crossovers do nothing for you. That's all people bitch about. People bitched about Injustice. It's a game that's only DC characters, and they bitch because their DC character isn't in it. And in a crossover, unless your character is the main character, I guarantee you your character won't be in it.
That goes back to you saying, like, you should just update the game and, like, continuously, like, add characters to the same game.
I'm not gonna lie, though. It'd be pretty cool to see, like, a Superman brutality or, like, or Flash brutality. I mean, I think it'd be pretty cool.
But they don't want that to happen, though.
No, yeah, it's definitely not gonna happen.
DC won't do that because the Comics Code Authority fucking censored all the comic books, and now everybody fucking believes that shit, and they're all fucking idiots. Anybody that sits there and says the Snyderverse is shitty because Superman kills is not a real comic fan, you're a sellout to the man. You're a sellout to the man. Superman killed people, dude. Superman was horrible and awful until the Comics Code Authority. Literally, by saying Superman doesn't kill, you are caving to the fucking church-going fucking alt-right weirdo nut jobs that want to control media. Right. Anybody that says Superman and Batman don't kill, you are alt-right as far as I'm concerned.
That shit.
I always used to talk shit about like how superhero movies and shit like ruin people's cars and buildings and shit, and what happens after that? You know, your family's broken.
Dude, they came out with what was it? The Suicide Squad? I think it was the Suicide Squad trailer.
This whole city fucked up.
Dude, you see Superman kill somebody in the trailer.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you?
Right?
I'm like, man, I just paid my insurance, bro.
That's like that's what I liked about like what was it, Civil War, because it was like the fallout. Like, yo, y'all just destroyed a whole city during Age of Ultron. Like, y'all need to go to jail and shit. We gotta lock Captain America up. It's not safe for people him walking around.
Dude, destroyed the whole fucking city.
That's something they explored in The Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe. Instead of the Punisher in that universe, instead of the Punisher's family getting killed by a random gang shootout in the middle of New York, it's actually the X-Men and the Avengers fighting with Skrulls. And in the midst of that, I think if I'm not mistaken, one of the X-Men ended up accidentally killing the Punisher's family in the process.
That's the worst family to kill.
Yes.
That's the worst family to kill. Hey, nice.
Yeah.
They didn't know, dude. Cyclops got shot in the face immediately when Frank Castle showed up to the scene. So yeah, no, the capitalization of heroes, you know, the side casualties that take place.
Right? They're like, oh, Superman doesn't kill, but he knocks over a building and 5,000 people die.
You ever seen that show, The Boys? They show the
the fucking Homelander.
Yeah, oh my god, that's exactly how it should go.
People want Omni-Man as a guest character, but I was like, nah, man. I want Homelander. I want him to have a brutality where he fucking kills you, and then that old lady comes out and he starts drinking from her tits as like his outro. I think Homelander is way more creepy.
Basically, the Flash ran through a person, but his name wasn't the Flash. But yeah.
Or what was that movie, Bright Town? The one that was like the kid Superman, but he was fucking evil. It was directed by James Gunn.
Yeah,
Bright, I think it was called Bright or something like that.
Like Fright, yeah, Bright Town.
Yeah,
it
was Bright.
That shit was tight.
Oh my gosh, but yeah,
a Superman horror movie.
Yeah, Superman horror movie would be crazy.
That kid in MK would be tight.
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty.
I'd play as evil Superman kid.
Oh, Brightburn, that's what it's called.
Brightburn. There we go. That shit was
dope.
I was like, yo. That's my Superman.
That's why people just take little orphans in, you know.
Right? I'm going to start running around Kansas looking for fucking abandoned babies and shit. This one's a Superman, I know it.
I'm curious about your guys' opinion since we're all Mortal Kombat fans here. And this is regarding like the next story of Mortal Kombat 12. You know, because they're gonna probably, arguably, go into kind of like a reboot / move forward direction since Liu Kang kind of rebooted the universe.
We don't know that though. Like that's kind of what it hints at in the game, but then they could just say, "Oh," because I don't know if you guys have seen that interview from the actual story writer for MK11 when he talked about the story ideas that they turned down, right? What MK11 almost was, and it gives you an idea into how they brainstorm it. And for the most part, I have found that the NetherRealm team, when they write shit, do not want to write what it is set up to be. They don't know. They just don't want it to be what it's set up. They were like, yeah, we could have done, because he talks about that specifically with MKX.
Like the lore.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, at the end of MK9, you know, or at the end of MK9, you saw Shinnok show up, and like it seems like we're going into MK4, but he's like, that's kind of boring, man. So we came up with the concept of the combat kids and just said, yeah, no, we'll just skip ahead 20 years, and now everybody has kids. And that was the same thing with from X to 11. They're like, yeah, we could have started with like Dark Raiden invading the NetherRealm, and that people really wanted to see that, and they're like, yeah, but that was kind of boring. Like, let's go in another direction, and they went in the Chronica direction. And so that's what I'm thinking. Like MK12, like who knows, right? They set up two different endings, right? Shang Tsung rules the universe, or Liu Kang restarts the universe. But they don't even have to do that. They could have just said, oh yeah, you know what? Here's another cutscene right before Liu Kang got Chronica's helm. Like, I don't know, a fucking sloth monster with tentacles came and grabbed him, and now Mortal Kombat has rebooted, and it's a cyberpunk universe, and everybody has robot arms and shit. And they literally, that was a concept that they said they were this close to making MK11. Yeah. They were like, we were almost going to make it cyberpunk and take place in New York.
You know what's crazy? When you look at the MK11 story, it really has nothing to do with the actual lore. Like, it's like completely like revamped, like the whole story.
Well, in building off of what you're saying, Badger, like the directions that they almost went, this is kind of what I was going to get into, because I feel like it also follows what you're saying there with the directions and what things almost are and what they do to skip forward and do the, you know, meaty parts. Like you said, not invading NetherRealm right after Mortal Kombat X, they skip forward a little bit. And the beginning part, yeah, they could show a cutscene where things go completely different in the next game. But I was thinking, what if, like, in the future, like, Outworld is, like, subsided and stuff, you know, everything just kind of, everyone from the Mortal Kombat universe is dead. And that in itself is alarming and stuff. And everything is normal until, like, say, the Elder Gods turn evil and Outworld becomes active again. But we don't have our Sub-Zero, we don't have Raiden, we don't have Liu Kang.
That would never happen. That will never happen.
No.
Oh yeah, those are solely like there will never be a Mortal Kombat game without any of those characters.
Well, Ed Boon specifically said there will never be one without Scorpion and Sub-Zero. He said he will never release a Mortal Kombat game with Mortal Kombat in the title and not have Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
But going forward, what I was getting to at that, because that in itself is alarming, like that right there. I totally understand where that comes from. It's kind of like, wait, these guys aren't in there. what the fuck? Where are you going with this? It's all like, okay, but what if they have kind of like what they were going for with the movie? They have descendants of these people, of warriors and stuff, maybe not exactly of Scorpion or Sub-Zero, but Raiden has to come back and be all like, yo, like we were all sealed away for like a while, and now Outworld is like secretly coming back, and the Elder Gods, like Mortal Kombat hasn't been established in a while, and I want to, but I need to pick these warriors to take up mentors. And they essentially take on the spirits of like Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Liu Kang, and all these other great warriors.
That's basically the story of MKX. It's just not generational instead, you know, like, okay, like we have to, the evil guys are attacking again. We need a new breed of warriors, except like Sub-Zero and Scorpion and everybody are already dead, so we have Cassie Cage and Takeda, the next generation. I mean, like, yeah, you just take that concept and speed it up 10,000 years into the future, and it's like, okay, it's not Johnny Cage's kid, but it's like Johnny Cage's descendant. I mean, that's literally the story of MKX.
Well, and not like directly, and I guess that's what I was trying to display differently. They aren't exactly descendants of those warriors specifically, but they are, I mean, you know, they have,
but at
origins.
The end of the day, like, it would still be a proxy character. Like, yeah, his name isn't Scorpion, he's the Tarantula, but like he still wears yellow and he's a ninja. And if you're into Scorpion, you know, if you're into Scorpion, like there's a Scorpion-esque proxy for you. I mean, at the end of the day, it's basically a reboot, and someone tried that before. It was called Third Strike. It took them 15 years before people actually started to play that game again.
It's a free game now, ain't it?
Well, people ignored Third Strike because they walked up and they're like, wow, Street Fighter 3, where's Blanca? Right. Oh, it's Necro? He's some white dude who does the... Yeah, this is dumb. I ain't fucking with it. And I guarantee you that if they did that with MK, it would be the same thing. People would show up and they're like, where's Goro? Like, shit, people already do that right now. Where's Melina? It took them fucking...
Yeah, I was a little mad about Goro. I was like, what?
But where that would fit into gameplay, what if they went the direction of, yeah, you can pick any one of these characters, these warriors or whatever, they fight like this, like that character, like they fight like this.
You're playing, but then with fire. You're playing with fire because somebody already tried that. It was called Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and they said, nah, man, they're just functions. Yeah. Right? Exactly. Magneto's not in it, but Magneto is here. You can play Ultron. He does all the Magneto shit that you love. It's just not Magneto. Right? He just doesn't look like Magneto. And the fans lost their shit. They're like, I don't care what the fuck function you have. I want to play as Mag-fucking-Neto.
Well, I mean, and these characters would not be, like, technically Scorpion. They'd be, like, whatever they would decide to name them. You say
yeah, that's what made it worse.
One of them's got a grappler. One of them's, like, a fighter. One of them's a weapon user. But then you select one of those. And then you go in and then you have another select menu that's like Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and they each take on a different characteristic depending on what spirit you pick for them.
So you're talking about like grooves. That was something that I talked about last podcast, is that adding a groove system, which is basically what you're kind of talking about. And I think that would actually be really cool. I mean, they could find some kind of reason why in the story that would work. But yeah, that's the same concept as grooves. It's like, okay, I'm going to do Sub-Zero groove. So, like, I have this command list, right? I am fucking Fred Johnson. But when I go into Sub-Zero groove, I have Ice Ball and Slide, you know? And when I go to Scorpion groove, I have a teleport and a spear. Like, but I have these normals. I mean, it's kind of like an offshoot of the variation system that they have now.
Yeah, it'd be like a twist on it, because you have your, like you said, Fred Johnson, who is a grappler compared to Jack Johnson right here, who's a weapon user. They're completely different characters, but depending on what spirit they take on, they'll have, like, you know, different normals, but it's their taste. It's like, you know, Jack Johnson isn't going to have the same Sub-Zero as Fred Johnson. Fred Johnson might be more of a grappler Sub-Zero, you know, for example.
I think that'd be a cool fucking idea. You know, like fucking choosing your Arcana.
Exactly, but when you envelop, you know, for story purposes, when you envelop the spirit, it's like those characters aren't alive, but they speak to you, like they're your mentor and stuff. So you're not completely leaving Scorpion or Sub-Zero out of the thing, And you could even make it in the story that these arcana like mess with you and like almost like dependent, like Scorpion, for example, like it could be like the bad part of the spirit of Scorpion because the spirit's like in a weird balance of good and evil. So like that character that takes on Scorpion spirit could actually like start to like get all that vengeance and believe he's Scorpion or whatever, you know?
That would be
Tweet
cool.
this
It just
to
makes
NRS
me
right now.
It just makes me want an MK RPG. Hey, though, we are running out of time. It is 10:40. We got 20 minutes before the league
20
starts.
minutes before the league.
Right? So go ahead and give your social media shout-outs, and we'll call it a day there before we're fucking late.
All right, this is Caramelized Pony, Emo Assassin. Twitter is Caramelized Pony, no hyphen, no underscore, I mean. And yeah, man, I just be here. I play Mortal Kombat. I do good things. Hopefully I get better late in the day. But yeah, do your thing, man.
Alrighty. This is JusXDave. You want to follow me on Twitter? It's the same as my Twitch, JusXDave. And yeah, I'll be running some sweaty ass games. So if y'all want to hit me up, so let me know.
This is the one and only Shrek, and you can find me on Twitch as the one and only Shrek. But people call me Toad Savage. We'll talk to you later.
I think I'm the only one.
Oh yes, I forgot all about that. Twitch, I am with the underscore, so Caramelized Pony on Twitch as well.
Right, and if you're watching this shit, you already know who the fuck I am. Just like, comment, subscribe, and tweet it out to your mom. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I love these podcasts.
Hey, no worries, man. No worries, bro. Hey, that wrestling content, hopefully it's soon, bro. Let me know.
Let's do it. Let's do
it. Let me know, man. You already know.
Right?
All right, y'all. Take care of your lives.
You guys take care. Appreciate you having me.
See you in the stream.